Hey everybody, it's Max Farrow, it's Dex Trader, Dex Indicators, Dex Signals, everything Dex, Dex Data Charts, all of it. I'm joined here today with Mike Ficca.
Hey guys.
There you
Hey,
go.
how we doing?
Hey, how's everybody doing? There you go. Hey everybody. So, like, hey everybody.
Sunday. Hey.
Sunday, the new truck race. Okay, so here's what we got going on today. Today's a whiteboard webinar. Why? Because Max was too lazy to make a webinar. No, because I got super stupid busy with everything else that we're building and putting together. And we decided to kind of talk, just have like a real open conversation today, okay? And I know that trading is a bear at some times, right? We know that. We know it can be tough. But why is it that some people, right? And you've probably seen this, Mike, right? You know, you're doing halfway decent, everything's going good. The person next to you, right? Let's draw little people here. Right, you're doing okay. You know, you're steadily inclining with your statement. But the guy next to you, who's doing the same exact thing you're doing, you think he's doing the same exact thing you, is going like this, right? Why is he losing so much? Oh, I don't know what's happening. Or maybe you're this dude, and this is your perspective, and you're looking across the hallway, seeing that this guy here is like, he's just killing it. This seems to be killing it to him, right? But this guy here, he's looking at this dude. And this guy's got like this. He's like, why does the guy got like 98% success rate? I only got 87, and this dude's like 43. You think they're all doing the same thing, but they're not. Right? He might be in a different time zone. He might not really care and be paying attention. He might be this low because he's made a bunch of mistakes and he doesn't want to tell you about it, but he's a little embarrassed about it. Or, you know, this person, she's doing just like a fantastic job because she follows every rule that she writes to herself. She only does a couple of trades, you know, so you don't know the backstory to every single person. But what I find is that the easiest way for you to start to judge what you need to do to correct, right, is to make very small movements. Right? Mike, do you find this to be true?
Yes, absolutely.
Because what happens when you start making big movements? You get lost, right? Tip of the day. Main tip of the day. There's going to be about a whole bunch of good tips for you to get into your mentality of trading. Small movements. So another tip is to only use one thing until you get it done well, right? Until well. Doesn't have to be great, doesn't have to be perfect, but use one thing. Like, so if you're trading one type of asset, right? Maybe you're doing 5 minutes, or you're trading NA intradays, right? You should be trading NA intradays. This is a pretty big one as well, especially now after the little tweak of an algorithm, right? Maybe you're trading NA intradays. So in this process, you're trading using the system and you have your rules, right? Because number 3 is follow your flow, right? And what does flow mean? This is the flow chart that you're going to create. This is the pathway, if you will. Step 1, look at the market. See where's the trend going. Where, you know, these are the things that you're going to put down in front of you every single day, right? So when you start picking one thing, start trading it, follow the flow, and continue on that flow each day, right? Step and repeat. You're going to react to the small things the things that happen to you in small manners, right? Okay, let me give you a bigger incident here. We're just going to take NA intraday. We're just going to say, okay, I'm going to trade NA intradays here, and I'm going to trade in such a fashion that every morning I'm going to get up, I'm going to wait for that trade, that signal to come over. I'm going to use it as a direction, right? But I'm first in my flow sheet, right? Signal comes out, signal out. I'm going to go to the website, right? Of course, you're already probably on the website at this point. I'm going to look at the direction. I'm going to see the signal. You're going to visualize the signal where it's at. So depending on what charts you're using, you're either using Dex indicator charts, you're using the WB charts, using Dex data charts, you're using TradingView, you're using Thinkorswim, whatever you're using. Okay, keep it minimal. Don't go look at 50 different types of charts. Get yourself so used to using one type of chart. Remember, use one thing. Use that chart, right? So you're going to open up your chart. Now you're going to validate the signal, right? And in validating the signal on the chart, what are you looking for? You're looking for a trend going in the direction of the signal. That's a good one, right? Now remember, we're making a case here. We're building a reason why we should get into the market. And here's the case we're building. Here is the list we are putting together. Okay, because remember, making a shopping list, making any type of list doesn't mean you have to have every single thing on the list to make it a good deal or a good opportunity or a high return rate opportunity. It means that you're just starting the flow here, right? So you're looking for trend. You know, are you in the trend? So let's say if it's for a buy signal and the market's looking like this, okay? And the signal comes out and you're coming down on this level here. And this sort of tells you, hey, look, the signal just came out right here. And I'm down on a counter trend. I got the higher highs, I got lower or higher lows, and I'm going upwards in this trend. That's a check mark, right? Ba-doom, yay for me. Okay? Or maybe the market kind of looks like something comes up, comes down, does that, and then comes down here, you know, and ends like this, you know, and it's sort of broken that trend, right? Is that a trend? And it's actually no, because the structure has been broken for an uptrend. Does it have the potential to continue on and keep going like this? And this just was an anomaly out of a correction or a counter trend that's pushed too far? Yeah, absolutely. But we don't know what's happened here, right? So if at the moment, the higher highs, the lower lows have been broken, if one part of that chain has been broken, it is not an actual trend. This is then called a channel or sideways, to refer to it, okay? So even if this doesn't get a check mark, does it have the potential to continue going up? Because if it's already going in up, it's already committed itself to that up. We don't know if it's going to reverse at that point, but that doesn't matter as long as it's committed to that up position from that, right? So this is then gets maybe a half check, right? So you check the trend. Now you're checking, well, if you're using support and resistance, if you're using Dex indicators or the WB or even the new Dex data charts that are under the signals tab, okay, you have support and resistance on your charts. You should not be looking at charts unless you have already become very good at using price action and looking at price action. Should definitely be using support and resistance on the indicator side of it. You should be looking to see if there's a red line. So if this is an up position, you should definitely be looking to see if I'm right here underneath. Even though I'm an uptrend, do I have room for this thing to continue on? And the answer might be no. If this is a strong enough suit, if previous structure has bounced off of that line, there's a high potential that it's going to bounce off again. It might pierce a little, but then it's going to bounce off because remember, it's not about a line, it's about a range. So keep that in mind, right? When you're using support and resistance. Now, a couple of the other features here is that when support and resistance starts to behave functionally, maybe it's above here and it's calling for a buy, right? It's already closed out above the line. Now what does this become? It becomes from resistance, right, to what? Support, right? So these are the things that you have to look at to validate that trade. And in doing so, this gets a check mark at that point. Now you've checked support and resistance, you've checked trend. How long does this take, Mike?
Second. Really second. 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
20 seconds, 30 seconds, even if it took a minute to get the signal, to go to the page, to look at the chart. Remember, use one thing because you know where it's at. If you got to go to 40 different places, let me back up just one more thing, okay? As traders go, if you wake up in the morning, now some of you are working, some of you are doing other things, you're trying to multitask and you're trying to do all that stuff, right? If you're using one thing, you know this is true, right? If you're only doing the one type of mentality, right? You're using intradays. You've learned when intradays come out. When do intradays come out? Every hour. When can you trade? I can only trade between 4 and 9 o'clock at night. Okay? This is my trading time. This is the only time I could trade. Or maybe it's 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. I only have a 2-hour block in and I have 8 o'clock at night to 11 o'clock at night. This is my block. Then you, sorry, I left Customer service on. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Maybe Paul can pick that up in there if you can, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, so so maybe you can only trade these particular times. But listen, in order for it, you better get there like 15 minutes early before the top of the hour, right? And what should you have open? You should have your website. You should have the website open. You should have Nadex open. You should have your chart open. You should be sitting down with your tools in front of you immediately, right? You should be prepared. As an artisan would unroll his roll of tools, his carving knives or his painting tools or whatever it would be, right? The carpenter puts on his cop puts on his uniform, puts on his gun, those kind of things. Okay? Prepare your tools is a big tip for all of you. Prepare your tools because you need to know where they're all at. Get them all on one particular browser. Don't have 50 different pages open. Get them on, if you're not very good at navigating the websites and learn how to do all that stuff, get everything in one set of tabs, right, on the top of your browsers, right? So you got Dex Trader, you got Nadex, you got the Dex Trader with the page with the charts on it. You got your charts here. And so you know where everything is. You can just flick back and forth. You can even be able to pull, if you got a newer computer, you can even pull to the side and do stuff like this, right? You can get side-by-side comparisons, which I'll show you right here, okay? And if you got a newer computer with like Windows 10, you could even, let me see, let me grab here. Put that there like that, and put that there like that, and have, the website up like that, and you can have stuff like that. You see all that, Mike?
Pretty cool.
Okay. So you can have all this stuff so you can click in, but this becomes a little bit crazy every once in a while. So you've basically created your own four-screen. If you want to even make it more four-screen, you jam things up in the corner there. You put whatever you need wherever you need it, right? Get your communication stuff on and everything else. So limit what you have, your tools. Maybe it's just your full tool, 4 tools. Maybe it's your 3 tools. Maybe you got Nadex up. You got everything on. But limit your availability on what you can access because you will get overwhelmed, okay? So big tip on get your tools ready to start trading, all right? So you got that. Now, let's jump back for a minute. Signal comes out, whatever it might be. You know the ways to trade the signal, right? So learn how to trade the signal before you do all this as well. Learn what those are. If you're trading dailies, you know they're a range trade. You know you're using a working order, or you're doing a choke up, or you're going with the flow with that one. Okay? Jim says, I have a monitor in addition, my computer, 2 screens. Well, great. Then you've got more than enough real estate to be looking and having everything at your disposal. But don't have 50 things up. Get your 3 or 4 tools in front of you so you can glide into this process. Signal comes out. I look at the chart. You verify the number, right? Verify the number. Say it in your head. It's the Euro USD with a buy position at 1.1015. Okay? A buy, and you get that either, you can write it down, or you can have all your screens up so you could just quickly glance back and forth, right? If you had all your screens up and everything was right there, you could easily, if you had all your screens up, just like I had them, just pretend that they're 4 square, right? And you had Nadex, you had the charts, and then you have the signal, okay? You can easily see that it's a Euro USD on the buy at 1.1015, right? And so you know that direction. And then you look over on the charts and you see that it's an up position. It's already past the major support area. It looks pretty good. You got good higher lows, higher highs, and higher lows, and all that kind of good stuff. You validated. Okay, so now you check mark that, hey, yes, it's in that direction, but you're doing that all right here, and then you're dropping in on Nadex, and you're buying the contract. Right? You're putting a working order on, you're getting into the trade, you're doing whatever it is, but it's 1, 2, and then 3. 2 might have like 2 or 3 things in there that you're checking, but at least you're checking about validity. Now you're on an 8X and you're doing the finalization. Is there a good money on it? Am I getting it for $22 or $38.62? Whatever it is that you're getting them for, whatever system you're trading, right? But it's 1, 2, 3. If you can't get this in that fluid motion, that in between here is the confidence of knowing where to go and what to do, right? Because you got your indication, okay? Because signals have really, we've begun to get a mentality that our signals is more of an indicator than anything else of an event happening within the market. Now, this is the primary way to deal with everything. Now, what happens during your validation, right? The market's kind of going like this. In our example, we have a buy on the Euro USD at 1.1015, okay? And we get there and it's something like this, right? Big, heavy validation, right? Or maybe one of these, like I said before, it broke down here and then went up, right? So it broke the higher lows, right? But then it started to continue to go up here, and no end in sight here, but it's coming up to a major heavy number, right? Maybe this is 1.1020, right? Pay attention to the 0. What is this a pretty big opportunity for? Is that mostly sometimes you can come back down, right? Because it's going to reflect off, it's going to resist off of this particular number, right? So you have a big opportunity for to do that, especially if you look left and you see previous structure has bounced off that as well, right? Maybe that you've had a couple bars that have come up here and hit this and bounced off, right? Because we're using a line chart here, but if I was drawing the candlesticks, they could be something like this, right? You know, like that, right? But they've reflected off of that process. So this is a big reflection, or deflection, I should say, right? So this is a pretty big opportunity. If you're going to stay out of the trade is one thing, right? Yay, I'm staying out of the trade. Why? Because you don't get a good feeling for it. The market's too unsure for you whether or not this is a guarantee. But maybe you have enough experience that you've been through these trades before and they've all reflected off. So what do? You get in for a trade in the opposite direction because you have that experience. You begin to see that validity has 2 parts, a positive and a negative, right? It's either valid or it's not valid. But then comes the last part after validation, and that's called action. And action has 2 parts, for or against. You understand this? Let me ask you a question. If I told you I had a success rate of 20%, would you ever buy with me? Would you ever trade with me? Anybody in the room? If you came to this company, you're like, damn, these guys suck. They only have 20% success rate. Thor smacked it right in the head. Yeah, I'd trade with you. Because the opposite of 20 is 80%, and that's a pretty damn good ratio, especially if you're trading Forex. Now, if you're trading 8X, that's a whole other story. The ones that are death are the ones that are right in the middle, right? They're like, we have a 62% success rate or 43% success rate. You know, it's crazy. You know, maybe 48% success rate. That's right in the middle. You can't make money on either side of it. If you're Forex, you could still make money if you really bought in good R1 values and all that, but I digress. Right? So here's the big thing for all of you, is that no matter what you're doing to get all your tools in front of you, no matter what you're doing to get everything all nice and neat, validity is still part of the process, right? So the signal comes out, you validate the trade, the signal for yourself. You choose whether or not you're going to go for or against it. And you make these movements in small adjustments, right? You don't tell yourself, all right, for that Euro USD, that I've seemed to be losing that one. So now I'm going to take every trade in the back. I'm not even going to in the opposite direction just until then. Still validate every single trade you're doing. That's what I tell you to do with the intradays. Treat the intraday as an event happening in the sand, right? And then you have to validate whether or not you're for or against that trade at that point. You look at the success rate, you're looking at the direction, you're looking at the support and resistance, right? The percentage, the direction. Okay, you're looking at support and resistance. You're looking left to see structure. You're trying to find structure in there. Does this make sense? There's one thing to trust the signal. I've heard this a few times. Even from you, Mike, I've heard it a couple of times. Trust the signal. Right? Unfortunately, I have to call BS. You don't trust the signal. Who do you trust in this thing? You. That's who you trust. I could come on and tell you 50 signals to take. And I could win some of them. And I could lose some of them. Right? It's a pretty plain statement. Right? If this was Max's signals. And who's happy? These dudes are happy. Who's unhappy? These dudes are happy. These dudes are really unhappy. Right? But for me personally, all right, for me to be able to trade, I have to take responsibility for my own trade. These guys are like, we followed Max and it was great. And these guys are like, well, maybe I shouldn't have listened to him. But when you trade for you, using the signals as an event, as an indication, you become more in charge of the outlying result. Okay? Even though that we've given you a trigger to use to say, hey, look, something's happening. You become more in charge and empowered within your own trading style. And something begins to happen. You begin to understand more. You begin to see more. You begin to absorb the things that are happening in your world of trading. And this may seem like real Tony Robbins-ish, or I don't know who else we could use in there, but you know that it's all about theory and brain activity. If you think it will be, it will be. No. You have to look for the actions that give you the results that you desire. And that's where most people forget to make the opportunities for themselves. But to do so, you have to do them, and I'm going to bring this all the way back to small movements. Okay? Small movements. And what do I mean by this? If I go in and I'm trading intradays and I've done my validation and everything is a go for a trade, right? I've taken small movements. Yes, I'm going to do it. Yes, I'm going to do it. Yep. All right, now I'm in. And now I'm in the trade. My result, whether win or loss, doesn't matter at this point because I'm going to validate on both sides. Did I do everything right? Absolutely. Did I do everything right? Absolutely. If one of these is a no, you then have to think, what didn't I do right? Oh, okay, well, I let this one go. All right, save that. Don't change everything. Allow it to become a pattern, right? Well, every time that I'm going against the grain, every time I say no, that this doesn't work, I lose. Well, guess what, folks? In your world of trading, every time you check at that particular time, that happens, then that's not a good opportunity for you. You've begun to see a pattern in the process. Your brain is telling you, hey, look, this is no, when this happens, don't do a trade. Now, big question to everybody in the room, why can't we just make a system that every time we see this happen, we just tell you don't take the signal? Why is that? Because every single one of you, whether it be Thor, or Mike, or Max, or Jim, or Paul, or anybody else in the room, okay? The opportunity to take a signal and validate the process, okay, is different for Thor than it is for Mike. Mike might see a validation here, but not in here. and decide that, you know what, this is a trade to get. Mike might get that trade at that particular statement or end up pushing the choke in because he sees the support and resistance a little bit different than Paul sees it or Thor sees it. He might see a different level of price action happening than Mike. Plus, timing is a big issue as well. Exactly when they get in, what market price they get. Mike's money might be, he might be waiting for 62.38, where Thor is doing 20 and 80 on that rule. Max might be at 48.52. Who knows? So even though that the win ratios might be the same, the money's going to be skewed. And even there's times that if Mike pushes and buys another statement, he may have lost where Thor may have won. So every single person is different. If we tried to make a cookie cutter, follow the signal exactly here, do exactly this, people will still break the rules, still go against it.
I don't like my money skewed.
That's right, it's skewed. Your money might be skewed. But you will definitely see different results from one person to another using the same exact signal. And once I recognized this, I knew something had to change, because no matter what we did within the market, when the bot traded, its success rate always vibrated in the mean, right? 60% to 40%. Came out, would come back in, vibrate. Out, down, up, in, always came back to here. Always. Because the bot does it automatically. Goes in, goes out, comes in, comes out, wins, losses, makes mistakes, doesn't validate, or validates a process. If we do it all the way, there's no clear pattern for trading, folks. I'm sorry, you're going to hear it here. There is no clear pattern for trading every single trade and be a winner. There isn't. It's like crossing the street. You were never told when you were a kid, hey, look, when you come to the corner, only get there at 8 o'clock because no traffic will be coming at 8 o'clock exactly. So no traffic will come here or here, so it's free to cross, right? What do they tell you when you're a kid and you get to the corner? Anybody? Look both ways. You never know when a car's coming till you look. To the immediacy of it, to the action. The moment of action is always at where? The moment. You can plan as much as you want. I'm going to go to the Euro USD tomorrow at 3 o'clock and I'm going to do a buy. We call that clock on the wall trading, right? Because everything looks like it's about to line up, and then all of a sudden, what happens? It falls apart. Something happens, it falls apart. Now, the immediacy of action happens, right? You get into the trade, and the market, everything starts looking great. You're like, yay, I picked the right, and then what happens? Right? Starts to fall out. Now, does it always do that? Well, sometimes you know that it's news, or you got some sort of untraceable that happens. Donald Trump comes out and says he likes squirrels. I like squirrels. And then the whole world, squirrels die by the millions now. Everybody's wearing a squirrel hat. Sorry, that was bad. But what happens? There's a few things that normally happen that'll break that cycle, right? You begin to look, because we validated the trade, everything's going great, and you got the higher highs, and everything's looking good. But then what happens? Structure breaks, right? Committal of structure breaks. A lower low happens. Either putting that into a channel or into a reverse trend, right? But structure breaks. So this gives you a big indication to do what? If this happens in your timeline, whether 1 hour, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever, right? If your structure breaks and gives you consistency of breaking, and you're way in the money and you're real close to expiry, you have an opportunity to say, I'm going to let it ride. Or if you got a far away expiry and structure breaks and you're sort of hovering line then you know what the pattern is. It's time to get out, right? Get out for your loss or your tiny win. Right? Does that make sense? So the big steps here, right? is prepare. Prepare your day. Right? 2, okay, is validate. You're validating the trade. You're validating and confirming. Completely validate. All right, let's just take that one on the screen and completely forget that we even wrote it. Right, validation. Validate. There you go. Okay.
Amy's not here.
So Amy's going to kill me for later. She'll probably be like, "You got to redo the video." But validation, right? The time of action happens, right? Now you have to moderate, right? This is a big one. Some of you are like, "I want to set and forget." Well, if you've done your job well enough, of course. Now listen, moderating your trades, it comes within reason. 5 minutes, 1 minute, those kind of things. You're watching them. That's a set and forget. That's a time trade. In between 2 times, you're taking the action and you're working the percentage, right? Your moderation of this time period for 5 minutes for lower time frames doesn't come per trade. It comes over an action of trades or a bundle of trades, right? So if you've won, and then you lose. What you're validating, or moderating. How many losses did I have? Okay, I have lost. Stop trading. Right. That's what you're doing. In longer term trades, you're moderating the trade per candle on, did it break structure? Yes, it did. Okay, I'm out. Right. So that's what you have to keep in mind. I'm not telling you to sit and watch per tick data. Right. You're looking at things happening. And this doesn't come from me telling you, okay, as soon as structure breaks, get out, no matter what. Now, what we do tell you in like the SR max trades is what happens. You get a crossover happens. It's bail for the fences because you have a high rate of success of it failing, right? But at that point, if it's going to have a high rate of success to fail, what happens then? Put an opposite trade in. Pretty high rate to win that particular trade if it's got enough margin in it. It's beautiful. It works, right? Okay. Anybody have any questions on this part? Setting up, validating, moderating, right? Because the fourth and final is the movement. Small move from this point. Now, I don't say small move if you lose or what happens, right? I'm saying small move because what will normally happen to most people is that when you win, what do you want to do? You want to add more money to it. You're like, I'm winning. I'm a winner. This is the perfect system. Everything's golden. Let me add my money. Right? And what happens when you lose? Sometimes you do the same exact thing. It sucks, right? Oh, I lost, but I can't lose 3 times in a row, so I'm going to add as much money on as possible. And then sometimes when we lose, we do what? We run the other way. We find something else. We go, ooh, squirrel. Right? These big giant movements. Let me try something completely different. Now I'm going to try 5 minutes. I've lost three intradays. Now I'm going to go try 5 minutes. I lost 17, 5 minutes. I'm going to go try dailies. Oh, I've lost this. I'm going to go try the. We're all over the goddamn place. Let's be serious here for a second. If you want to make something work the something you want. I think that's a t-shirt. But an ultimate response to everything that we have is pick something and work it. Dailies, intradays, any intradays, SR maxes. It's all there for you to be able to use. You just have to pick it and use it and qualify it for yourself or disqualify it for yourself. But you have to put the time in to do it. If you don't, you're going to be left with that regret that plagues us all. I wonder if I would have pushed, because you see people in there working it, you see people making money with it. We have something like 4,000 members in our network. The stuff works. You just have to find out what works for you, right? And finding out what works for you is all the things that I said you have to do in preparation. You have to do training. You got to go. If you're asking questions, make sure you've done all the training first, right? Make sure you go through all the videos and don't skip through the videos. I'm not that boring. and the videos aren't that long. And if you got to, just because you've gone through them once doesn't mean you can't go through them again. If you get a question, go back through the videos. They're all parsed out or partitioned out to tell you where everything is at, basically. And if you can't find it, what do you do? Mike, what do you do if you can't find an answer on the website?
You can go into the room and ask one of the senior traders, or you can actually call the office and Max will pick up the phone.
Well, yeah, but you forgot one major thing, and that's the support system that's on the site.
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. The support network on the site. The chat room is really for traders trading.
My bad.
Right? They're showing a lot of trades that are being done. Paul's in there a lot. There's a Thor's in there a lot. There's a lot of people in the trading. So the chat room is really for trading, right? You're sharing your trades. If you have some minor questions, every once in a while, it's like a real quick, hey, where's it at? They may be able to help you. But really, get to support, right? It's right on the website. It's on every single website we have. Let me see if I can pull one up here. Right here, and like that. Right? It's right. Yeah. Okay. It says online, right? Click in there. You put your name, your email. You start chat. You talk to me. You talk to Paul. You talk to Amy. Somebody's in there, right? Yes, you can use Traders Chat if you're in there, and you can ask the questions. And you can send us an email at cs@dextrader.com, or if you're indicators or what have you, okay? There's that. Yes, and also under the Contact Us, you can call the website, or you can call the company. And there are times that I will pick up more than I will at others. If I'm busy, I won't pick up. I'll always try to call back. If I can't call back, it's either I'm dead or I got busy and I forgot. Call back, right? Ultimately enough, you can always book a consult to go over some of the issues you may be having. We're here to help you to try to get you to those points, right? Easy enough. Book a consult everywhere. It's under your profile. Book a consult. Book a consult up here. Under training, it's book a consult everywhere, right? And it's stupid simple to go do. You click on book a consult from the website. It'll take you to another website. And I hit book a consult here. I pick senior level. If you pick my pretty face or Mike Snowbound, he's a white cow in a white snowstorm, and just select whoever you want. The availability, right? Simple. Tell us a little bit about what your issue is, what you're having. You got 45 minutes of our time. Does it always take 45 minutes? No. Shouldn't. We diagnose your issue pretty quickly because we've seen a lot of them in different areas. So we have a good understanding. If you're doing the 5 minutes, Mike Fick is your guy. If you're all the other signals, you're me. You're mine. Okay?
And anything technical.
And anything technical. Well, Mike can get some technical questions.
Some.
You got some stuff down. You're getting there. Right? All right. If you have a question about your account, you need to use support. Yes, that's right. If you have questions about your account, you definitely need to use support or CS at Dex Trader, right? Customer service at Dex Trader. This will go to Amy, and I know Amy doesn't like the fact that I tell everybody to go see her, but you can also come in support. If I'm there, I can change your stuff as well now. So I'm in support. So if you come into support and you see Amy or myself, we can help you in your support question. If you see Paul or see anybody else in there, they may not be able to change some of your stuff just yet. Here with our new system we're developing to track all of our stuff, yes, you might be able to, Paul might be able to do some of that stuff. But no hurt, no harm in asking, right? If you have issues, if you have whatever it is, right? All right, let's talk about a few other things, and then I'll cut you guys loose here. In this world of trading, why did I become a trader was something that I toiled with for a pretty long time. I had originally wanted to change my perspective to be able to add a diversified income, right? Excuse me. I was working as the owner and a DJ, and I can't even say the word DJ without giggling because Mike is a true DJ. I was like a pretend DJ. I was more like a radio jock. Okay, let's just say that. I was a radio jock. I loved music and I could spin music, but I wasn't a DJ, right? I could probably play a good playlist, but I can't do what Mike does. Mike is brilliant, right? Mike's got 30 years kicking down my door. But I was working for Our City Radio, which was my invention. I was a programmer. I was all these things, right? I had so many hats. I had more hats than Hershey has chocolate, right, that I was doing. And one day I decided that I was going to create an opportunity for the company. I was going to take some money and we were going to invest it into binaries overseas, because we had vested ourselves and had investors that gave us money to build the network, and we had surplus at the end of the month. So I decided that in order for, in case anything ever to happen to the main system, okay, that I was going to diversify our income, and the best way I knew was to trade in Forex, and we found these new systems that were overseas called binaries. This was the trigger, right? This is what started it all. When we lost our money, right? Dude stole it, took off, right? The dude, but it was a company, a couple of companies. I decided that I wanted the world to know more of what was going on and help them realize that they could get ripped off as well, but not just tell the world about it. I could have became just one of those crier services, right? A Forex peace army or something like, this company sucks, don't go here, don't go there, watch out for that company. I could have been one of those watchdog groups. But then I started noticing something. Now, Forex Peace Army is a very honest and reputable company, but there are other watchdog services out there that are run by like people like Mike Freeman, and he has like 40 of them. You know, the review sites that actually tell you, hey, don't use all these companies. Hey, but you can use Mike's signals, you know, from my Facebook group, which is a whole bunch of BS within itself, right? And I don't like talking bad about anybody, but this cat's got some major mental issues, I got to tell you. And I don't mind telling you, this is going to be live on Bing, so I hope he finds it. I've been threatened for him from all different types of things, right? It doesn't really matter. So why I'm telling you this is because this world and this industry is riddled with all of these nasty kind of people that just want to hurt you and take your money, right? They're going to promise you the world, but they can't even give you the backyard. Now, another reason why I'm telling you this is because I originally didn't start off in this world. You know, I've had a lot of different trades, but my main desires have always been about entertainment, helping people, training people, and building business. That's where my real desires are, in building businesses. And in order to do so, I was told a long time ago, versatility is the key. It can open many doors. There's my grandfather, who I can curse and pat on the head at the same time, God rest his soul, but he's made me who I was, who I am. Now, the ultimate end destination here for me is that I'm building things not just for trading, but for other things too. We have a business network that we built that we call BAM. We have a data testing or a beta testing network we call Dex Beta Testing, right? Now, and we've mentioned this last week, or mentioned during even this week, right? Dex Beta Testing is going to be the spot where people can come on board and help us test out the systems. Now, they're going to pay a fee to be a part of it, but once the test is finished, let me get rid of that real quick. Once the test is finished, you'll be able to utilize whatever we have. So it'll go over to Dex Trader. You'll be able to utilize that for an extremely discounted price for being able to help us to test it. But you'll always have access to another test by that system, right? So you can do another one with us, because we're doing 4 or 5 different programs in there. Inside that program systems, there are the Dex spreads, right? And the spreads are in a long-term fashion and a short-term fashion, right? The long-term is about 8 hours. The short-term is about 1 hour. There's even possibly a 1 to 2 hour spread that we're looking at, right? And so this system that we're going to be putting into Dex beta testing is going to be live here this week. All right, we're going to be creating this process. Now, this is going to be more not of a signals on a page, but more of there will be signals for the short term in a fashion that you'll have to follow, but we want to make sure that everybody can do it. So you will have to follow rules. You'll have to follow a journal. You'll have to have meetings with us every week. There'll be 1 meeting per each one a week to find the flow and how everything is working, to kind of go through. You'll be asked to give your opinion. No company's ever done this before. Not that I've seen. If you've ever seen a beta testing network for trading in this area, in this world, I don't know. But Why we have done so well being able to find the data is the biggest thing, is that we're looking for the data. All right. So Dex beta testing is here, but we have some things that are happening over the next 3 days. We may not be able to release everything out until the beginning of next week. All right. But the signal, the Dex spread stuff is going to be ready this week. And we're going to be putting together all that process. Now, if you want to take part in this, reach out to Amy or myself. The email will get you on the short list to get you in there, okay? Because we definitely need people. But remember, there's going to be a lot more benefit for you being in there than for us being in there, right? Because you're going to get all this stuff in advance and be able to see the demo. You'll have it weeks and maybe even months before somebody else may have it, because we're looking to a lot of data here. We made some quick movements in the very beginning of building this network, but now we're going to be the slow, methodical way to get in there and make sure that we can house a multi-million-dollar trading advantage here. That's what this is coming to. We're going to need your help, and that's why we're building this next part of the network. One of the other things that we have done too is that because we had Dex signals, we got Dex Trader, we got Dex indicators, we got Dex beta testing now, we got Dex data charts happening. All these things are happening. Why do we have all these programs? Because each one needed to have its own world, right? And as we build all these things, we needed to be able to house them, because right now they're a pain in the ass to try to track on everything. You know, where clients are coming from, where customers are going, where they're going to, what systems that they've bought, you know, what pages are they on, what's the conversion rates, all that stuff. So basically, we're housing it in one giant system right now. And this is going to be our OCI network, right? This is Our City Investments, LLC, tracking, right? And this system tracks pays, tracks everything. So you're going to see some changes happening. You're going to see some things happening. We're going to ask some of you to actually go back through, give you a small discount, and have you buy back into the network through our new payment systems in here, right? That we're using from Pay Kickstart and a few other networks in there. But it's going to house it all in one big system. So it'll still be PayPal, it'll still be Stripe, it'll still be these credit card networks, but we want to be able to have you housed in the proper process so we can track your refunds, track cancellations, track all that good stuff, and keep everything on board. So keep that in mind. That's what's coming over the next month. Finally, we have another network called Our City Gogo that we have been working on and building out. This is pretty powerful. If you do, I mean, because I know some of you have outside jobs, you have outside things you're doing. If you're watching this after the fact, if you're into business, we have BAM business builders happening. A lot of experience. How do you think we built all this stuff? We've learned it, so we want to be able to teach it and teach other people to build networks for themselves and other solutions for themselves, and show them how to do it the right way. Show how to manage the customer service, so how to manage those systems that we're doing right now, so we can get more reputable companies, not just in signals. We're not going to be training other signal companies, but we're going to be training other companies to be more reputable, more customer service friendly and oriented, and be able to help them learn these processes, to be a challenge to those companies out, to those big giant box companies that are offering all these opportunities in these systems. Plus, give them opportunity to advertise on Our City Gogo. And plus, any of our Dex members can go there and join Our City Gogo for your city, your state, and do that. But we'll put that announcement out. Also, in a final note here, make sure you go to all of our YouTube channels and like them. If you're watching us, subscribe to them, you know, because you're going to get that information firsthand. I put a list out to about 400 something people. I think we did pretty good. I think we started getting some pretty big numbers here. Let me see what we got. 924. It was 888 before we started the webinar, and now it's 933. That's not too bad. That's what, 50 people? 40, 45 people? So if we put it out there, people can actually definitely get to it and start making it happen. So I really do appreciate everybody here. If you're watching this after the fact, I want to thank you for your time, for getting here to this part of the video. And of course, if you ever have any questions, any problems, you can check in the chat room like Mike says. You can also check in support. You can ask the questions, you can send us emails, you can do all that stuff, right? Mike, thanks a lot for hanging out, buddy.
Thanks, Max.
Anybody here that if you want to have little questions and answers, start preparing your questions in the chat room. Everybody else, thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you inside. And as always, trade well. See you next time.